In enkele minuten.
Hey, guess who's been up since 5:30 and he didn't mean to be? Ha 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 ha! Woo! Oh, Goosey ain't got nothing on these bags. Goosey, Gucci, Gucky, Snuffleupagus. Anyways, I've been reading a really good book. Just got started on it. It's called Defend the Realm. Let's see if I hold it up. Will it be in focus? Oh, yeah, hey, how about that? Hey, how about that logo? It's the history of MI5, the Secret Service, Spies, Britain, and all that stuff. And you'd think it would be nothing but non-stop James Bond. However, the first few years of its existence, leading up to World War I, really read a lot more like Blackadder. Okay, since that last shot and this shot, I just drank an entire mug of tea. Let's do this! And by this I mean sort of scream, sort of go through puberty. So yes, MI5, as you can imagine, its history from 1909 to 2009 contains some incredible stories, some real drama, but as I mentioned before the tea, the first few years are pretty ridiculous. I mean, for starters, they didn't have any real budget, headed up by a man by the name of Captain Vernon Kell. MI5, which was not actually called that yet, but whatever, had barely enough staff to maybe not quite even have like a football team. And to begin with, the German spies were not that much more impressive, and I'm going to get into more of that later. One of the big reasons that MI5 was founded was actually largely due to the British people being whipped up into a height of hysteria over supposed networks of German spies, largely invented in the fictions of William Le Cure, Snuffleupagus. Sort of a Tom Clancy Glenn Beck hybrid. Le Cure, like I said, basically made his bread and butter scaring people about German spy networks that didn't really exist yet. And, well, he eventually did, after making quite a bit of money and bragging all the time that he knew the people in the secret department, because you see MI5 was not public knowledge at the time, he eventually died in the 20s, convinced that Germans had poisoned his ice cream. They had not. Coming back to the head of MI5 in the early years, Captain Vernon Kell, he had kind of a frustrating job. At first he had to split it with somebody else, eventually they got rid of the other guy who was always jealous that Kell got more glory, and such as it was, and he didn't really make a lot of captures or interesting cases, unfortunately. He did find just enough evidence to keep people scared into giving him funding, and he was very lucky that a very young Winston Churchill, who even then was influential, really believed in what he was doing. But as I said, he had like no staff, and they were mostly office clerks. There were no James Bonds really in the agency yet, so he had to rely largely on police constables around the country to help him get information. And police constables, you know, not good cops, not spies. In the beginning, Captain Kell didn't even have the kind of legal powers you'd think the head of MI5 would have. For example, he couldn't open mail. Captain Kell not being able to open people's mail was a shame because in the early years of spying, the German spy bureau, headed by the opposite number of Captain Kell, simply known as N, largely used cold calling for their spying, by which I mean they would just sort of send letters out to people in England, German expatriates, usually men about 35 to 50, saying, "Hey, buddy, want to be patriotic for the country you chose not to live in anymore? Sure you do. Listen, why don't you go see where the British boats and gun placements are and stuff like that? Could you tell us a little more about the British Navy? Could you do that? Yeah?" Unsurprisingly, quite a few of these German expatriates were like, what? And they just passed the letters on to the police, who passed them up to the constables, who passed them over to Captain Kell at MI5. He used these, along with a lot of help from the young William Churchill, to get a law passed called Howe, which allowed him to open letters, and that in turn allowed him to catch a few of the more competent German spies that were actually sent over when the bureau, I guess, you know, the German spy bureau and N got a bit more money and could hire spies. However, not all of those spies the Germans sent over once they sort of ceased their cold calling thing were terribly competent, and thus we come to the man who made me want to make this video. You see, by 1911 going on 1912, there was kind of a German middle manager spy called Steinhauser who was in person in England overseeing assorted German spying. Now, he was doing pretty well until Kell could start opening people's mail, and then he started to get clues he needed to try and catch Steinhauser. Now, Steinhauser just managed to escape without being caught. However, the first of Steinhauser's spies that were successfully prosecuted by Captain Kell, well, they didn't need any clues provided by opened letters. Introducing Dr. Max Schultz, the first, let me check here, the first doctor of philosophy ever to be jailed for espionage in Britain. Quite an honor. Despite convictions in Germany for embezzlement, remember what I said earlier about the German spies tending to be just kind of jerks in the beginning? N, the head of the German spy bureau, sent this guy over to spy on the British Navy, try and figure out where their gun emplacements were, where their boats are at, what are their boats made out of, how are they made, and so forth, stuff like that. So, you know, Max Schultz goes over to the town of Portsmouth, which had a lot of Navy business going on, and what does he do to be a, you know, careful spy, fitting in, carefully finding information? Well, he buys a boathouse, lives in the boathouse, upon which he unfurls a gigantic German flag, and he decides the best way to get information is to just invite local people from around town, not even necessarily people in the Navy, just like the butcher or whatever, over for dinner parties where he would try unsuccessfully, I love it, even says it right here in brackets, he attempted unsuccessfully to turn the conversation to naval matters. Like, just, you know, hey guys, yeah, thanks for coming to my party. You know, I got some cheese over there, I got some drinks over there, you know. Yeah, so, you guys know where some boats are at? Do you like boats? Despite the fact that obviously he aroused quite a bit of suspicion and acquired no useful information, Captain Kell didn't catch him because of this. He caught him because he caught him because Max Schultz shot Max Schultz was caught because when he was engaging in some gun practice, he accidentally shot his housekeeper in the arm, a Miss Sturgeon, and, you know, understandably she chose to sue him for damages. Now, when Max Schultz got a solicitor to help him out, a Hugh Duff, he decided while he was at it to keep doing the spy thing, and he asked his lawyer, by the by, I don't suppose you could provide me with any useful information on boats and shit, because I'm reporting on them for a German newspaper. Seriously, that's what he said. A German newspaper. Didn't even give it a name for the paper. So yeah, Max Schultz's solicitor, Hugh Duff, understandably took this information, this request for information for a German newspaper about the Royal Navy near Portsmouth, and fed it to the local police, who, remember what I said earlier, fed that up to their constable and fed that over to Captain Kell, who immediately leapt all over the stuff and provided, strangely, a whole bunch of bogus evidence to make it even easier to arrest Max Schultz, because hey, why not? Max Schultz quickly went to trial, understandably was prosecuted, and even there it was kind of fun because he was prosecuted as Dr. Phil Max Schultz. The prosecutor is not realizing that Phil was short for philosophy, Dr. Philosophy, yeah. And eventually he was sentenced to some stiff jail time, although not as much as you might expect for a spy, and he certainly wasn't killed. Yeah, and then the final closing statement that I love from the judge who oversaw the case. Yes, Lord Chief Justice Alverstone told Schultz before sentencing him to 21 months in jail that it was a sad thing to think that you, a man of education, should be capable of coming over here posing as a gentleman, attempting to obtain improper information. I love that. It's just like, oh man, seriously, like, you didn't just disappoint yourself, you really disappointed the whole class, you know. We expected more from you, Dr. Phil Max Schultz. Anyways, I just thought that was great. Thought I'd share it with you in a video. Hey, welcome to YouTube. And yeah, I'm gonna keep reading this book. Nobody paid me to do this. I just think it's a cool book, any more than somebody paid me to talk about General Butt Naked or anything. So yeah, Defend the Realm. Good book. Anyways, I'm gonna go collapse in a heap now. But first, I'm going to do this end of the video segment. Oh yeah! Just wanted to give a big thank you to the handful of fans who came in at the last minute and donated to the Sweet Fever fundraiser. We just, like, at the last absolute minute of the fundraiser, with the very last donation that was made, hit the line that we needed to hit to do a Sweet Fever mini comic book as well as the thing. So that's amazing. We didn't just succeed in getting money to film, we can do a comic book, and we have a little extra money for the filming, so we're not going to be freaking out over every single dollar. I mean, we're not rich and we're going to use it all because, hey, filming costs a lot of money. But, you know, pretty much exactly what I would like to have happened did. Who could be happier? The big finale, like I said, early next year is going to be great. And it was supposed to happen last Saturday, but this coming Saturday is actually when I will be filming, yes, filming, Handful Reviews number 96 through 100. And then I'm going to edit the hell out of those little bitches and put them up for you guys again early next year. So stuff to look forward to. Hopefully this won't be my last video before Christmas, but if it is, Merry Christmas, y'all. Kell also didn't have the kind of legal powers you'd think the head of MI5 MI5 is the other spy agency that was really unsure of itself.